Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Whiskey Wonders. And today, since we are deep into the holiday season and big dinner nights are coming and, think Thanksgiving and other holiday dinners as well. But these types of occasions, they all call for great whiskeys to be shared with the family, to chase down some of that turkey, the dark meat, and to keep spirits high after dinner. So today, I'm going to be doing a Thanksgiving whiskey guide for whiskeys that you can bring to Thanksgiving festivities at 3 different price ranges. So at the $50, at the $100, and at the $200 range. Now, before we get to the video though, if you like these videos, if you really like all the videos, whether it is the wonders or the hauls or the reviews, the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we got cooking up for you, we have tons of amazing stuff cooking up for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that, and we are growing. But also you get notifications when our newest videos come out on Sundays and when our shorts come out sort of random, our whiskey quickies, and if we have any videos at some point in between. All right, now let's get down to the video. All right, let's get a glass here, and to get warmed up for this turkey gift guide Thanksgiving whiskey, I'll let you put those in the right order for you. I think let's be enjoying something a little different, something outside the usual affair. I think what I'm going to be enjoying is a little bit of this little book, which is out of the Beam family, kind of the Beam line in general, but it's a special release, and yeah, I think this will be something real nice. Let's see if we can get a pop on it. See if we can get a pop. Not the best. And let's get a little juice here. Ooh, yeah. And, of course, as per usual, to whiskey. Because, let's face it, you can never really drink too much of it. You can only just sort of, drink it too fast. Cheers. Oh. That is good. That is very good. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this list before we get going on it, because the order we're going to do for it is going to be from the least expensive to the most expensive. So the $50 range up to the $200 range. And this list has scotches, it has bourbons, and it has ryes in it, because these are the whiskeys that really have enough hardiness on the palate to them to best fit with heavy foods that we eat this time of year. Think turkey, ham, roast beef, pumpkin pie, cranberry sauce, stuffing, and all the good stuff that goes along with it, all the fixins. So these whiskeys have enough ABV to hold their ground against these heavy dishes, and they have enough kind of spices in them, just the right amount of spices in them to really kind of fit in with that holiday winter season that we get. So kind of dark and spicy and girthy. So first up on this list is going to be 2 bottles of whiskey at the $50 level. And these are whiskeys that are definitely out there. You can definitely find them, but they're not everywhere. But they can be found with a little bit of digging and foraging and doing some research. You can find them at that $50 or even a little bit below that $50 price point. And the first one up is going to be this really amazing, and it's out right now, the Kirkland Signature Single Barrel 1792 Barton's Collaboration. Now, you may know Kirkland from past hits like the Kirkland Tennessee 7-year-old bourbon, like this one, or even the Kirkland Signature 19-year-old Speyside Single Malt Sherry Finish, like this one, and really the whole cornucopia of other ones that they have available. But really, for me, and what I have found so far up until this point, is that Kirkland's magnum opus really is this single barrel 1792 collaboration. And the other added benefit to it is that not only is it good, not only is it a great value, which we'll get to, but it also comes in a 1-liter bottle, which is also quite nice as well. Some of the best things about it is that it is ABV'd beautifully. Some would even say perfectly for the holiday at 60% ABV or 120 proof. Again, like I said, it is a collaboration between 1792 Barton, so the folks who normally make the kind of oddly shaped 1792 bourbons, and obviously Kirkland, the Costco brand. And moreover, as I said, as far as value goes, the price on this one is at an amazing $28.99. But it drinks like a whiskey that is 3 times as expensive. So if you want something that is not going to bust up your budget, if you want something that is going to impress your loquacious uncles, And it's going to leave you with a win and a good amount of holiday cheer. This Kirkland Signature 1792 Barton's Single Barrel. I would say call ahead to Costco before you go and see if they have it, or call around and see which one has it, because it is well worth it. And I know every time I see it, I try to at least pick up one, if not more, bottles. So that is the Kirkland Single Barrel Barton 1792 recommendation for this Thanksgiving whiskey. It's great all the rest of the time, but it'll look really good on the Thanksgiving table too. And next up at the $50 or below level is this Thanksgiving recommendation for whiskey that is sort of like that cousin at the family reunion who doesn't really quite fit in with everybody else. You're not really sure what they're doing here, but they are related and everyone still loves them, which is this Buffalo Trace Kosher Wheated Bourbon. It is priced at $46.99, so really right below that $50 range, but is a nice addition out from Buffalo Trace because it is similar enough to Buffalo Trace bourbon, but it also has a slightly higher ABV and a wheated mash bill, meaning that it presumably comes from the same mash bill that you would get with a Weller or perhaps even with a Pappy. This one is ABV'd at 47% ABV, which you can see right there, are 94 proof. And it also has the added benefit of being a bit quirky as far as whiskey goes. So it'll definitely turn some heads. And I guess also as a practical matter, if you do have any relatives who happen to be Jewish or at least practice kosher, then they could drink it, and stay kosher. So that is the wheated Buffalo Trace Kosher Whiskey. That is the second bottle of whiskey at the $50 level that I think I'm going to recommend for this year. Yeah, this would definitely be a very nice thing to bring, and even maybe expand the inclusion of bourbon sharing. So that's another great one at the $50 level. All right, next up is going to be a whiskey, a set of whiskeys, in fact, 2 whiskeys, and we're gonna step it up a notch to that $100 bottle level. And that's going to be, of course, for Thanksgiving. And I think that these whiskeys are going to be great if you're going to perhaps maybe a nicer holiday Thanksgiving kind of dinner. One that has 2 forks, that has 2 plates, and 2 glasses. Those kind of ones. But honestly, these will also be very, very good if you just drink it with some fried chicken or a Hungry Man dinner. I've been there for both. So first up, it's going to be a whiskey from a whiskey distiller that is doing really pretty amazing things as it moves out of like its startup phase. It starts getting into its own, we'll call it like distillation phase, meaning they got their own distillation going, which is High West, based out of Utah. I know, right? Strange. But they are known for this one, which is their Midwinter's Night's Dram, which is relatively allocated. So it is not the easiest one to find, but it just fits so perfectly with this time of year and the type of meals that we eat during the winter seasons in the fall. I will tell you, though, that this is probably one of my all-time favorite whiskeys for the winter time. It is a rye-based whiskey that is finished and really kind of brings out a lot of those like gingerbread, baking spices, cranberry sauce style flavors, coupled with an extra bulkiness and like heftiness that you get from a rye. Additionally, it has some quirkiness and some culturedness to it, as it is, an homage to the Shakespeare play Midsummer's Night's Dream, but Midwinter's Night's Dram. Get it? That's very punny. So I like that. It shows they have some creativity to it. And also, it always leads me to think that if Midsummer's Night's Dream happened in Utah in the wintertime, those satyrs would definitely have their hair pants all the way up to the top instead of just from the waist down. Although I guess I'm glad they had it from the waist down too. Anyways, this one is a bit over that $100 mark. It's at $118. But it can be found for a little bit less if you find it directly at MSRP, depending on where you find it. But on that note, it is important to know that, again, it is pretty well allocated. So it can be hard to find, so I wouldn't hold your breath to find it. But if you do find it, you definitely want to make sure you pick it up because it is well worth it. And it comes also in this very beautifully hand-blown bottle. So it looks great on the table, it tastes great in the belly, and it's something that'll go very nicely with some some stuffing or some turkey or some heavy winter dinner night stuff. So that is the Midwinter's Night's Dram out of High West. Again, another great one at that $100 level. So the next up at this $100 level is one that comes from outside of the United States. And in fact, I think it might even sort of be the reason why there is a Thanksgiving, but on the other side of that. But it is a scotch that was produced out of Lagavulin in collaboration with the most American of characters out of Park and Rec, that TV show, Ron Swanson, who was played by Nick Offerman. And I'll tell you what, I'll let you try to guess which one is his stage name and which one is his real name. But either way, the actor is very masculine. He's known for woodwork, and he's known for drinking his Lagavulin for sure. So they did a collaboration with him to create this Lagavulin 11-year-old charred oak Offerman edition. So it is a limited edition. And Lagavulin in general is a whiskey that just speaks to my inner smoky soul, as it is known for its smoky or peatiness, its salty Isla goodness, and with this year and the additional input from Nick Offerman, in this case they have aged the standard whiskey for a little shorter time. They aged it for 11 years instead of the standard 16 years, but they have put it into barrels that have been burnt way past someone be claiming that they are just Cajun. They are burnt to a crisp, which adds to it a very hearty charred level of flavor that you just don't get with the standard Lagavulin. So it's less nuanced for sure, but it is definitely more bold in that charred, burnt smokiness that offers a very nice counterbalance to a smoked ham or perhaps a deep fried turkey or even a little bit of steak if you are going that way with your Thanksgiving dinner. So all those things sound delicious. It's ABV'd at 46% ABV or 92 proof, which is very respectable, and it's around. So although it is a limited edition, I think they made a lot of it, and you can still find a lot of it. You can find it at Total Wine for about $95 or a bit less at Costco and a bit more at Bevmo. So that is the second recommendation at the $100 level for Thanksgiving whiskeys, the Lagavulin 11 Offerman edition. All right, now let's get to the top two at the top level of our whiskey recommendation list for Thanksgiving. And no surprise, one of them is going to be another rye. And again, I think that rye in generally is just, it has an inherent wintry feeling to it. So it gets a big leg up on a list like this. And sure, it is good any time of the year. I will drink rye in the summertime. I'll drink rye in the wintertime, in the fall, and in the spring. But there's something about how it hits just specifically in the wintertime, because the summertime is great for some of those lighter kind of leather and caramely types of bourbons and whiskeys that are out there, or even maybe like a honey green tea style Japanese whiskey like what you would get with some of the Hibikis and some of the Highland Scotches or a Glenfiddich or something like that, where it's sweet and light. But the winter, those dark, kind of cold, wintry nights and the heavy food, just made perfectly for rye. And this first whiskey on the $200 level or below is no different, which is going to be this Kentucky Owl 10-year-old batch number 4 rye. Now, there's a couple different batches, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Some of them are good. The 1 and the 4, for example, particularly are good. And the 2 or 3, maybe less good. So just as a heads up, I think that I would recommend the 4 because I've personally tried it, or the 1 because folks say it is actually better than the number 4, but I don't know about that one for sure. Now, the Kentucky Owl is sort of an indie brand. You know, it's definitely not a large, big brand. They don't have a lot of production, and it was someone's brainchild where they thought, you know what, we're going to take amazing whiskeys, we're going to blend them together at the best quality we can, and then see if we can sell them at a price that is reasonable based upon what the cost was to make it. The problem is, to make a good quality whiskey, especially in the time where they were making this, it was crazy expensive, and it ended up being priced at not really a great position for the market or for folks who would be buying it. That aside, we'll be talking about that here, more about that in a second. But this one specifically is the Batch 4, and allegedly is going to be the last versions of the rye. So it is still relatively available. You can find it at Costco at the new reduced price, right below $200 at $199.99. Or you can also find it at Total Wine. I've seen it there for considerably higher, kind of at the older prices. And I think Bevmo probably has it as well. But when it first came out, it was at that $300 to $400 range, kind of in there, and no one was buying it. So they brought it down to the $199. I don't know if anyone else is still going to be buying it. I definitely would if we didn't already have this one and a backup at the $199. But, you know, as a third bottle price, I'm not so sure. That being said, the Batch 4, I mean, it is dark, it is deep, and it has a very prominent, like, dill flavor to it. That makes me think that it goes great with like turkey stuffing, especially the one that has like oysters and andouille sausages in it. Ooh. And as an added benefit to that, it has an ABV at 56.4% or 112.8 proof. And it has a real like intense complexity that keeps it interesting throughout the night, from the very beginning when you're not full to after and you're too tired to think about anything, and you take a sip and you go, oh, that is quite good. So that is my recommendation for it. It's probably something that most of your whiskey drinking uncles and friends and family members have not tried or even really heard of. And when they do, they'll be very thoroughly impressed that you can pick a good whiskey to go with a great dinner. So that is the first one in the $200 level, the Kentucky Owl Batch 4. Now, last up is going to be a whiskey that will win you not only brownie points for how good it is, it'll win you brownie points for how strong it is, and it has some flair points for it as well, because it is a well-known, top-tier whiskey that if you bring to the table, people will ooh and awe at it, which is going to be none other than this Blanton's, but it is straight from the barrel. The most Blanton's of Blanton's, the strongest of Blanton's, and as I like to say, it is the boss fight of Blanton's, because it is going to give you a wallop, as it is mostly ABV and a little bit of Blanton's sprinkled in there. When I think about a Blanton's that would be most rival to a Stag Junior, for example, it is the SFTB, because it really is min-maxed to have the highest level of ABV, but that comes along with that is some of the strongest like Blantoniness that you're gonna get out of really any of the top tier line. It has specifically a 62.5% ABV on it, and they're all gonna be a little bit different, which comes out to a proof of 124.1. that's definitely gonna disrupt someone's dinner if you drink all of it, for sure. And a lot of people who do drink it find the ABV to be, you know, a little more intrusive, a little more untactful than you would want at a dinner table, kind of like Uncle Hank's dinner table manners. But if you enjoy Blanton's and you want something that's gonna cut through that pumpkin pie, it's gonna cut through those turkey legs or bread pudding, and leave a healthy dent in your liver. This one can be found for around $200 if you can find it at MSRP, although inside the United States, it has only kind of really started to show up on the shelves of kind of specialty whiskey providers or mom and pop liquor stores who tend to jack up the price pretty dramatically. If you can find it, you know, if you are like many Americans who are traveling over the summer or had traveled over the winter or traveling for the holidays, this is something that you could have found or can find outside the U.S., especially think, you know, Paris and London, for around that $200, especially with a stronger dollar as well. So these are ones that you may consider if you do find them outside the United States. Pop those into your luggage and bring them back overseas, which is one of the things that we had done with this one as well. So even if you can find them at a reasonable price, they can be found for under $200, but even if you can find it $210, $212, $220, I think that's still going to be a pretty good range, and it will only amount to half of the level of kudos that you get when you bring it to the Thanksgiving party. So it's a great whiskey to start off the night. It's a great whiskey to finish off the night, and it just has so much oomph to it and so much rarity as far as the Blanton's lines go, that's going to be the top recommendation for our Thanksgiving gift guide. So that is the Blanton's SFTB straight from the barrel, and if you find it, I hope you enjoy it, because it's quite good. All right, so that's it for today's top Thanksgiving whiskey gift guide recommendation, something to bring to the Thanksgiving table for over the holidays as well. It'll work just as well for Christmas or Rosh Hashanah or whatever holidays you have in the winter time. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, in fact, I hope you enjoy all of our videos, whether it is the wanders or the hauls or the reviews or the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we got cooking up for you. And we have tons of it, especially as we get into the holidays. We're going to be doing gift guides. We're going to be looking at the gift sets that are available. We're going to do all that kind of crazy stuff to help folks out during that time and to enjoy, maybe bring up some whiskeys that you might have missed in previous years. But if you do like these videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are growing, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you get notifications when our newest videos come out on Sundays, and when our quickies come out randomly, and if we have other videos that come out at some point in between. All right, now, before I go, just remember, if you do find a whiskey that you love, just buy it. Because if you don't, somebody else surely will. And in this case, it might even be me. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week. Have a happy holidays. Enjoy all your festivities. Enjoy your whiskey safely, please. And that's it for me. I'm out, and adios.